Yo, check your mic. Let's test these levels.
Check, 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 check.
Okay, word. We got the sound. Let me know when the break's coming in.
Nah, there's no break. I'm just gonna go straight through.
Alright, kick that shit.
Heaven sent, I can prove this. Any crowd, turn me up loud. KR will move this. Long before Eazy-E, this MC, he was ruthless. Kicking rhyme, spitting rhyme, written rhyme, freestyle. I do's this. Who's this? You don't know me, homie. I'm the one and only. I turn your tool into a toll. Tell you you owe me. You ain't gotta go to the past to know me, homie. I'm KRS-ONE. My power is now. Eckertoli. These rappers are bony and lonely. I'll catch them coming out of Shoney's. I don't Oscar or admire, they baloney. No phony. I spit for the time from the mind. So when I spit off the head, of course I'm ahead of my time. Yes, I'm better with rhyme, and it's evident I'm the lyrically benevolent kind. This you never gon' find. I'm spitting plenty medleys, this is work, not a job. Rappers are crying like a boss in reverse, they sob. That's when they get robbed and disappointed. They not anointed, get them set up like an appointment. I spit the same heat you like to joint with. Fire, spit the truth, no liar. Heaven sent, this is higher. The mic cooks, I write books. The heavyweight champion. The song becomes a knockout with the right hook. I'm raw, meaning not cooked. These fake rappers heads are down, cause in the face of KRS they do not look. 40 cal style, rap-a-pum like big drums. When I heat up the club to 420, it's done. Light up the cheech with the chung. I teach when I come. Knowledge reigning supreme. What these rappers speaking is dumb. It's a treat when I come. I'm not what you used to. I'm the return of Khufu all over these tracks like choo-choo. I'm the guru. So when my teaching premieres, it's gangstar. Hitting you and your man in the same car. These whack rappers, fuck who they are. KRS is like a hooligan. Hitting them all with the same bars. Hooligans hitting them with the same bars. Your whack style just ain't ours. Venus to Mars. I'm teaching with bars, spitting these bars, but youngins under 21 can't even get into these bars. So I don't blame them if they not seeing these bars. Cause when I hit them with my universe, all they seeing is stars. Speaking of bars, when I spit one, you can see it's all about impact over an income. The big one, multi-directional and exceptional. 10 of my first 20 albums are all collectibles. You feel the heat when I'm next to you, truly legendary. Underground, undetectable, and revolutionary. Most of what's going on today, you know we knew already. I tried to teach our people, but poverty, it took too many. It shook too many. We can see what a curse is. So I re-emerge to show these youngins who the first is. The minister, frying rap chickens like churches. And the worst is seeing your temperature taken by nurses. IV bags, your family picking out hearses. It's like you at the Barclays Center, you won't survive these verses. Sprite means spirit, so I obey what my thirst is. The whole planet, so-called Earth, is what my turf is. KRS-ONE.
Yo, I got this. Yo, this is about to be fire. Levels is on point. You sound good out here. Let's get this project started. Peace and welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am Minister Sun One. Welcome our teacher, KRS-ONE.
Yeah, that was a nice intro. That little
Yeah, it threw me off. I was like, wait a minute. If I speak, it's about to go crazy.
That was hardcore. Years ago, we probably would have recorded it and started a $1 billion industry.
No doubt.
Wow. Well, let's get it started. First of all, welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. And of course, now we're located at 55 Ludlow Street, Newark, New Jersey. Check us out right over there. Speaking of that, before I get into what we're going to talk about today, which is really a continuation of moving into the temple. But of course, the temple, there's a physical edifice, the address I just mentioned, but there's also the temple of your body, your mind, your soul, the building of your being, the temple of man. This is what we're actually talking about today. And we're going to read a little bit of the gospel that puts us in that preparation. But first, let me just run through a few of the announcements before we begin. And that is that last Sunday, let me just shout out real quick. Last Sunday, you saw we was walking around live. We were doing a whole bunch of stuff up in Harlem. And we were teaching, we was receiving an award. There was a couple of things going on there. And actually, I received another proclamation, actually, from New York State Senator Cordell Clare. And so shout out to him and shout out to all of them. But what I'm trying to say is that evening, I had a dinner with Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson. Nice lady. You might want to look her up, Marianne Wilmington. I'm thinking of Wilmington. I just read this book again, The Wilmington Lie, which is a place in North Carolina. That's what's messing my head up. Her name is Williamson. Right, Williamson. Marianne Williamson. I don't know why my tongue just can't say it. But she's running for president. And I found that astonishing. I saw her a couple of years ago, 2020. You may have seen her on the Democratic ticket. They had a bunch of people up there. And there was this one woman up there coming from a spiritual perspective, saying that what America needs now is to redo its soul, to redo its, and face some issues that you might not want to face. And of course, they got rid of her quickly. They marginalized her, dimmed her voice, and so on. But after this thing that we were doing up in Harlem, I met one of her friends, a guy named Oscar. Not even a friend, he was her campaign manager named Oscar. Met him, and I said, well, yeah, I know exactly who Marianne is. And we took a dinner that night and talked up a whole bunch of stuff. And I really liked her platform. She was really coming, but she's, you know, like Dr. Cornel West, you know, they're running for president. They're friends too, by the way. Well, I guess we all are. Me, Marianne, and Dr. West. We all run in the same circles. We all have similar ideas as to how we think the country can be a better place to live, and including our own neighborhoods and so on and so on. But that was a great dinner, and you know, let me say, I got her her website right here, Marianne2024.com. That's MARIANNE 2024.com. Let me hit you with it again. MARIANNE 2024.com. And I guess you could donate there and find out more about the campaign as well. I'm going to donate a little bit to her campaign as well. And of course, I'm not suggesting you do it one way or the other. I'm just running through some of what we were doing that day. And that's what it is. But I'm going to go ahead and support her as well, Marianne Williamson. Let me move on. You know, let me say this. Wait a minute. Well, you know what? Come over here to yesterday. We delivered most of our artwork to the Temple of Hip Hop. It's more of a side note, but I should mention it as well, that we delivered a lot of our artwork to the Temple of Hip Hop. Some hundreds, some art paintings, and all types of stuff. We're getting ready to put it up on the wall. We looked at swatches for the walls themselves. We picked an earth tone, obviously, blues, greens, browns, beiges, white, to adorn the inside of the temple. We fixed our basketball court. One of the basketball courts were broken. We fixed that. Exchanged the toilets. There was a kid toilet in one of the lounge areas. We had exchanged that to an adult toilet in that sense. Yeah, that's what the temple basically, when we were there yesterday and the day before, just you know, getting prepared in that sense, which is basically also the theme of our teaching today. September 30th, however, next Saturday, September 30th, is the Hip Hop 50 Years Art Exhibit. You don't want to miss this. If you're in town, it's at Bronx Community College. The Hip Hop 50 Years Art Exhibition at Bronx Community College. We're also lending art to that as well. There's other artists coming forward. This is the graffiti writing and graphic art part of hip hop. If you can make it, there it is. No, give me that flyer. Thank you very much. This is the flyer here. This is just one of them. But the it says a secret location. I just gave out the location. But this is the flyer. This is just one of them. One of the flyers. This art is dope, and this is not AI art either. Somebody did this with their hand. Excellent art, but with the story as well. And you may want to look and really just take in the art itself. There may be a hip hop cultural specialist on hand. We're still producing it. We have 1 week to go. So just notice September 30th, next Saturday, is the Hip Hop 50 Years Art Exhibition at Bronx Community College. November 3rd, 2023. November is Hip Hop History Month. So November 3rd, 2023, we kick off the month with a Hip Hop Teachers Conference. You might have heard me talk about this later in later years, but the Hip Hop Teachers Conference, those that are interested in that should appeal to the email address that is below going by on our screen right now, the Hip Hop Teachers Conference at gmail.com. This is a private gathering of teachers to introduce the concept of authentic, of what an authentic hip hop teacher is. We're also looking to certify these teachers as well. And we're also starting with Newark, New Jersey's teachers, because we're in Newark, New Jersey. So we're starting with Newark, New Jersey's teachers. And what's so interesting about Newark, New Jersey as a city, I say this proudly, that not only is Newark, New Jersey offering teachers, across the board, as public school teachers, $62,000 a year, but also there is a music teacher in every public school in Newark, New Jersey. So when I found out this information, that's why I said, well, wait a minute, even though there's English that wants to be part of this as well, because hip hop has a lot to do with language arts and all of that. Of course, there's math that might want to be part of this. Science wants to be part of this. But the mere fact that music teachers, most schools, sad to say, more than 50% of America's schools don't have music teachers in the school. This is one of the first things that get cut from the budget, from the educational budget, is music and art. But Newark is one of the places, one of the cities, that their public school has a music teacher. So we, as the Temple of Hip Hop, coming into the Newark area, it behooves us to link with those teachers who are obviously hip hop themselves, link with those teachers, those music teachers, and see how we can exchange benefits and opportunities and resources for ourselves and for our children. Mostly for our children, but I'm sure that some of these music teachers have talents unto themselves that can be utilized in other ways that empowers and brings financial relief to them as well. We have to do this. We have a resource ourselves, which is called hip hop. We're opening a temple for hip hop. We have music teachers in public school that clearly understand what hip hop is and how it might work in a classroom. So I say all of this to say that I went and met with a gentleman named Roger. His last name escapes me. I don't have his business card on me right now, but his name is Roger. Wonderful gentleman. Shout out to you, Roger. And shout out to Pat as well. Pat Councilman Pat Council. Interesting. Who we was at a dinner. And I'm just putting all this into the record as well, just so you know. It's part of our announcements. That we took a dinner a couple of, maybe 2 weeks ago. This was when we went before City Council. We went before Newark City Council for the final approval of the building itself. Hold on. G. Simone is giving me something here. And it says Roger Leone. Right, Roger Leone. But he's the superintendent of schools for Newark, all the schools. And in Newark, Newark Public Schools, Roger Leone, met with him. And obviously he knew what time it was as well, and was looking for something innovative in Newark as well. They're progressive in terms of what they want to do with education, and they're turning out the numbers too, which is another thing. You know, it's one thing to bring a program like what I'm bringing, but it's another thing to also hear of the programs that are already in existence that are also successful. Keep in mind that I'm just coming in with a new hip hop program. Newark has programs that are already successful and could use a boost, can use maybe some more funding, can use more students knowing about it, you know, more popularity. These are the areas where we can exchange opportunities, exchange resources, exchange interests. And I love it. We're going to do this. So we met with the superintendent of schools. What I was going to say was that we took a meeting, myself, Amiri Baraka Jr., which is chief of staff to the mayor, Pat Council, who's the councilman for the ward that we're in. We're in 9th Ward, the Weekway section of Newark, New Jersey. Had the councilman there as well. Pharrell and his son, shout out to those men as well. Pharrell was one of the people, or Farrell was one of the people who, well, he's in charge of buildings. He's in charge of what goes on the building, what goes in the building, construction, this kind of thing. He was at the table as well. Dupree Kelly, Do It All from Lords of the Underground. Councilman Dupree Kelly was also at the table as well, in addition to the Temple of Hip Hop, G. Simone, and the rest of us. We were all there, and we talked up our temple right there. We talked it up right there, and that amounted to me saying, you know, I'm looking to do a hip hop teachers conference. What's the first place that you think we should go? And it was Pat Council that actually said, well, let's go talk to Roger, who's the superintendent of schools here, and let's see through him what we can actually do. Because also, you know, we want not only the teachers to teach hip hop, and not in the public schools per se, but this is a side gig for teachers. This is a you know, extracurricular work for teachers. Learn how to be a hip hop teacher. You can take this pretty much anywhere. So we want to offer the opportunity to hip hop's actual frontline teachers who might be interested in this, in that sense. Now, if the superintendent somehow creates a curriculum and starts teaching hip hop in public school, that might be something different. I'm always leery about that, you know, I always standoffish about that one. But it'd be interesting to see what could be accomplished, especially if we do it right. That's another thing. If we do it right, it could be monumental. But that's the point. You know, you got to have control of the situation. I never thought I would have the control of education over a city that I'm seeing that we have right now. And so some of my past ideas might have to alter a bit to see a new vision, because most of the people, and I'll end with this, most of the people, maybe not end with it, but I'm on this particular topic, most of the people that I'm speaking to are hip hop. And think about that. I mean, last week we were talking to, you know, we were at this Harlem Proclamation ceremony. And actually it was a kickoff last week to the African American Day Parade as well there, which is what the breakfast was really all about. And, you know, what's interesting is that you walk into a place like that and there's the chief of police and there's the mayor. And there's no animosity either, you know, and there's no sellout either on either side. Okay, the mayor is still the mayor. Okay, you may disagree with his politics and all of that. Okay, I got a few things I can look at. Okay, and there's the chief of police, the new chief of police, female black woman, chief of New York City, police department. And she's yelling, criminal minded. She clearly understands what it is. This is something that, that if navigated properly, many of our social ills can be corrected. Now, everything's not going to be right, but at least the stuff in the past that we said this was stupid and should not continue anymore. Well, in our adulthood, and with some access to the halls of power, are we not still supposed to be trying to make things better? And make things better that we saw in our childhood? Like, don't forget the dream. Don't sell out the principle. Keep the dream alive. Damn, did I say that? Keep hope alive. But keep the dream alive. Hold on. Wait a minute.
It's the new chief of police, the woman stepped down.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Simone was just correcting me. The woman that I was just speaking to, who was there, stepped down. That chief of police. I should get her name. Jeffrey Madry is the new chief of police. Thank you for that, Simone. Jeffrey Madry, Maddrey, is actually the police chief. I don't know if he was there or not. I didn't see him. But the woman the black woman police chief that I was referring to, that was amazing. She stepped down, so that's great for history. Thank G. Simone for that. But she was there, and you saw her there, which is why she's vivid in my mind. Actually, she was actually there, and there she is, understanding though what the situation is. We're not as separate as we were when we were growing up. Things like government, education, healthcare, real estate, military, even. We're not as segregated as we were when we were growing up. A lot of us know a lot of us. And this is an area in life where, wisdom is important, because you have to make the right decisions, and the right decisions, most times right decisions, are based on principles. And principles are established early on in life, in your childhood, passed on from elder to child to elder to child, passed on from family to family. And so we don't forget Booker T. Washington, get up, do something for yourself. We don't forget Marcus Garvey. We don't forget Malcolm X. We preach it in front of those who are said to be government and religion and education and so on. We preach the same message. And if in fact those who are the institutions that one time were against this message now embrace the message, I think we're moving forward. There may be no other way to engage it. In an adult, in other words, everything's not right and all things are not hunky-dory, and you still got to look at people, and it is what it is. But that it was this way before, and now it's this way. And if you're still stuck in the old way, you can't take advantage of a new way. When we were growing up, there was no internet. This thing I'm talking, this technology that we're using right now to have our Sunday meetings did not exist. Some of you can't even imagine that. Like, you can't even imagine a time when the only way your voice was going to get heard was if you was on the radio, and there was only like 2 or 3 stations that your voice could be heard on. And not even 2, probably 1 in certain areas with your voice was not being heard on that because you wasn't a superstar like Michael Jackson or Donna Summer or, one of these superstars. No, so your voice was just not heard. Period. This is what drove us to graffiti writing. We said, no, our voice is going to be heard. This is what drove dudes to going out and doing jams in the park or playing the boom boxes, trying to put our voice in society. They were trying to muffle our voice and ignore our existence, act like we didn't even exist. And in doing that, you can't take advantage of the fruits of the society in which you live in and pay taxes to and possibly work for. That's called slavery. That's what they were pushing on us. We said, no, our voice is going to matter. And this was not just a black voice. Like I said, hip hop's voice said, we're going to speak. And we wound up speaking. And now that our voice is actually the voice of a large portion of government, not the whole government, but a portion of it is actually hip hop. Not only are we fulfilling, I gave this lesson as well at last Sunday. Not only are we fulfilling a biblical prophecy or a biblical story, I should say. Not only are we fulfilling, I mean, you got to look at it. You can't say, oh, Chris, come on, look at, nah. Look at this. Well, maybe some of y'all don't even read the Bible. Damn, so I can't. Maybe I do sound crazy. But you know what? If you pick up your Bible from wherever it is, okay, and you read the story of Matthew, just Matthew, there's 4 Gospels, just read Matthew, okay? And tell me that hip hop doesn't match the community that Jesus the Christ was in. Even down to the Pharisees and Sadducees, and some of us connected to Rome and oppressing others of us with that power. Then later on, you know, the same Roman government that's oppressing us, we step into place and become the Roman government ourselves. And some of us govern wisely. Others of us ruin ourselves. This is history. This is straight history. Here we are again. Here we are again. And how are we going to lead? How are we going to rule? How are we going to govern? Governance is not about you over anybody. It's about solving problems. Like, can you solve a problem? Can you build something that helps the whole community? I mean, and think about that. Because again, you know, just say, I mean, this is what separates the Temple of Hip Hop from others. I say that humbly, though, is that we're serious about building our civilization. And to build civilization, you can't do it from your bedroom or from your study and say, because I read 100 books or been to a couple of lectures, that I'm now going to build civilization. No, if you're serious about it, you did that. And then you went and talked to those who are actually in charge of a society or civilization or some institution or something dealing with the upliftment of people in a society. You have to have that. You got to do that work. And that's the work the Temple of Hip Hop is doing on behalf of hip hop. On behalf of hip hop, we want a self-governed community. We approach hip hop as a self-governed community of peace and prosperity. This is what we're pushing. We don't see hip hop as hate, ignorance, sickness, you know, poverty, ignorance. No, we see peace, love, unity, and joy. And that's what we see, and that's what we work toward. And to do that, somebody, some group, is going to have to approach the mayor, approach the president, approach the senators, approach teachers, approach doctors, approach religious leaders, approach these people and say, you know hip-hop's not a criminal culture. You know what's happening in the mainstream, what's going on. You know the truth. Okay, let's establish truth. Now, in that truth, let's establish power. Help us protect our culture. You know what it is, so help us protect it. And that's the movement that we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. So I urge you to join this movement. Join it. This is hip hop's cultural movement. And many of you are already joining it. I'm saying join it in the sense of if this is your first time hearing me, or you just tuned in, or you catching a snippet of something, or whatever it is. If you just hearing this, you got to think about how serious you are about the community, the culture, the intellectual environment you inhabit. Are you a traitor to the environment? Are you lazy in the environment? Are you oblivious, ignorant of the environment? Or are you active in the environment? Are you aware of the environment? Do you take responsibility for the environment? The environment is hip hop. And to take responsibility for hip hop is to take responsibility for oneself, for one's character. Because we are not just doing hip hop, we are hip hop. So the way we act is the way hip hop acts. When we fail, hip hop is failed. When we succeed, hip hop succeeds, and vice versa. This is what it means to be part of a real culture, not just with mouth, but a real culture. This is my real community. This is our square. This is where we at. We respect everybody else. We see everybody else. We engage everybody else. But right here, if you really want to know, it's about hip hop. It's about hip hop right here. That's a bold statement, right? But that's how people are feeling. A lot of people I meet are feeling that way right now. Nah, this is hip hop. I think we need to organize this. I think we need to stop playing games with this. Everybody I meet, and of course I'm biased, everybody who comes to me is probably going to sound like that. And you attract what your mind is always on. So do take that into consideration. But I meet a lot of people who have the same attitude and ideas that I have. And even if it's just my own mind making it up, that's a couple of thousand, tens of thousands of people that I've met over time at all sorts of professions and ages and so on that says, nah, you know what? Rap is something we do. Hip hop is something we live. And more people are finding this out in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, when they are now chief of police, chief of fire, head of school, this, that, and the other. We're now saying, nah, we understand now. Now, in that understanding, however, everybody's scattered because we're all in these different departments with this knowledge. Where now is that knowledge brought to a center, where the center itself is sovereign, self-governed, yet is put together by all the members of these different departments: education, government, religion, all of the institutions that move a society forward, food, agriculture, that move a society forward should have a stake in the temple of hip hop, because the temple of hip hop is building civilization, building a hip hop culture for real. So those entrusted with society's jobs and civil work, these are the people we want to talk to. These are already, keep this in mind, hip hop's already there. It's just these civil workers, these government officials, they themselves don't have a place to say, yo, it's right here. Let's put the budget here. Let's put the ideas here. Let's put our children here. Instead of locking them up, do we have some kind of alternative real quick? Can we put something in front of that before they get to the prison? This is what most of the city officials I'm talking about are talking about. A lot of the city officials, police as well, their hands are tied with bureaucracy. And then on top of that, people dissing them, like me. It's whack, it's hard. And I say that respectfully. But take a look at that. Even me with my protest records against police misconduct, it's the police that's actually saying, Chris, but you're right and you have our support. And what can we do? Because like I said at that meeting with police and government officials there, you can't just criticize without a solution. And I say that often. I don't just criticize. If I'm going to criticize you, I'm going to also have that solution. That's why I'm criticizing. Why you don't see the solution? Why you not acting on the solution? All we got to do is duh, 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 duh. So there lies the criticism, or rather the debate. But just to point fingers and sit back and be like, yeah, it's whack, and you don't do nothing? Well, that's another level of immaturity that I'm just not on. So let me continue on. I just want to get that lesson out real quick. We're still talking about our upcoming events. November 3rd. So what I'm saying is that November 3rd, 2023 is a Hip Hop Teachers Conference at the Temple of Hip Hop. I already said September 30th is the Hip Hop 50 Years Art Exhibit at Bronx Community College. That's going to be amazing. You need to get over there. November 3rd, though, 2023 is the Hip Hop Teachers Conference at the Temple of Hip Hop. And we're going to grab these teachers, put everybody in a room, and discuss real quick how it actually goes down. Ingrid Lewis Martin was the lady that I was referring to as the chief of police. She was actually the mayor's special assistant. She was the mayor's special assistant. That's what she is, the mayor's special assistant. Ingrid Lewis Martin, beautiful woman. She's there, but again, somebody in government that clearly understands what hip hop is and what it may need to survive. And imagine, and let me say this too before I move on with this. What are we learning? After 50 years, we're learning that there is no such thing as government. There's no such thing as corporations. There is only people helping people, or people hindering people. This is where we at. And those that have ears to hear it. I mean, and I know some don't even understand what I'm saying, but I'm saying it because I know some do. And if you can understand this, there's no government really. There are people helping or hindering. That's it. So if you could get past a FBI or a Homeland Security or a Department of Education or whatever, Department of Sanitation, if you could get past these titles and so on, you see a real human being right there. And that human being has problems and issues and challenges that affect human beings, especially, tailor-made to your particular career, whatever. And if you could somehow gain the trust, gain the respect of this human being, now you have the respect, the trust of whatever title that human being represents. So now it's not really about the title, it's about the human. And I say this broadly. Some humans want evil stuff. And they hold titles, they hold government, religious, educational titles. And you want to scheme and plot. You're greedy, you're selfish, but you still hold this title. Others hold the same titles, but they really want to help. They really want to help. You, as a hip hop cultural specialist or a hip hop or an authentic hip hop teacher is what I'm trying to say. As an authentic hip hop teacher, you have to be able to look past the illusion of title and get right to the soul of the matter or the person. And this is a spiritual technique as well. Because people will come to you with, yo, 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 yo. And you reacting to that sends the whole situation in a different direction. But somebody coming to you with, yo, 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 yo. And you're able to look through that and see, oh, what are you really saying? I'm hungry. Oh, here's a sandwich. What are you really saying? I'm afraid. Well, here's comfort. Here's security. What are you really saying? To be able to look at what a person is really saying. And that requires a control of your emotions, which is, again, another spiritual technique to be able to really want to help. That helps with you looking past the title and seeing the actual person behind the title. So this is one of the lessons that we've learned now over a 50-year period with hip hop. We've also learned that people change. Over 50 years, we've seen it. People who didn't believe something in the 80s are now gung-ho for it in now. People who could not see in the 90s and openly said, man, this is whack, blah, 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 are the champions of certain causes and so on today. Think about that. Vice versa. Those who were champions of causes in the 80s no longer have the energy, the mind, or the time to continue them today. Of course, this is not everybody, but this is a lot of us. A lot. I'm giving you these lessons for you to open up, realize what's actually going on. We're growing. And the job of a teacher is to mature the apprentice, the students. Not just a bunch of jargon you got to remember, but are you maturing? Are you going from A to B to C to D? Do you see yourself? I used to think like this, but now I think like this. And it's based on evidence. And I can still think the way I thought a couple of years ago. I can still go there. But I cannot deny the evidence in front of me. Let's include that in whatever thoughts we're having about a subject or a person or an event or whatever. Don't be so narrow in your thinking. You don't get nothing. But if your thinking can be broad enough to say, I'm going to hold my ideas. I got my ideas of how I go. But I'm large enough to include yours. And they may contradict my ideas, but I understand where you're coming from. And that's what, there is no contradiction in understanding. So I can include you or include your ideas in my thought. I may not agree, but I understand. So November 3rd, 2023 is the Hip Hop Teachers Conference, November 3rd. Those that want to be part of that, you should send your email to the email address at the bottom. Every now and then it pops up. And you can just, whether you want to speak or help us put it together or donate as well, all of that is welcome. And shout out to everybody who is keeping up with their donations. You know it's needed more than ever right now. And we thank you for that as well. Those that have been contributing, thank you. There's nothing more to say. You are honored and respected, and we're documenting everything. Also try to remember that on November 3rd, 2023, which is the Hip Hop Teachers Conference, try to remember that the hip hop, those with hip hop cultural specialist certificates are also going to be welcome to the courses that we're getting ready to put together. We're getting ready to put together I think we're going to do a December course. I think. I got to see how November goes. But I think we're going to start see, if everyone's excited and wants to go ahead and do this, then we're going to go ahead and do December, and which will be really great, or the last 2 weeks or so of November going into December. That could be great as well. What I'm trying to say is that we have a 30-day course. I'm putting out a 30-day hip hop cultural specialist course at the Temple of Hip Hop. We don't know when this course is going to happen because we want to have our November 3rd conference first. Gather ideas and schedules and where everybody is as far as Newark's teachers are concerned, and other teachers, book writers and those that teach hip hop as well. You know, see where everybody is and who's doing what during that actual time. But we're actually going to then have these courses and classes later on. When we have these courses and classes, those that already have hip hop cultural specialist certificates are welcome to the class. The classes start at $1,000 for 30 days. It's a $1,000 30-day course, and you come out as a hip hop cultural specialist. Those that have their hip hop cultural specialist first tier degrees or first tier certificates can just come into the course. You save $1,000. Those that are just starting out, they're going to start from the beginning. Some of you will even have to redo the course yourself because there'll be new students in the class. The course starts at $1,000. We're only taking about 30 students at a time. We have room for 90 students. That's it. There is 3 sets of 30 in that sense. And keep in mind that Newark residents, these courses are free to Newark residents. So we have a section of the course that's going to be for Newark residents. The course goes from Monday to Thursday. Monday to Thursday. About 3 or 4 hours on the course, most likely 4 hours, because we have a break for food, beverage, and a break, smoke break, call your parents break. So it'll be about 4 hours in that sense. So there's a 4-hour afternoon course, 4-hour evening course, and that's at the Temple of Hip Hop Monday to Thursday. That we think is going to go down last weeks of November going into December, or it might go down for the month of December in and of itself. We're trying to see. If it doesn't happen, meaning that, you know, we need more organizational time, then it just goes into 2024. But we are looking to start our hip hop cultural specialist courses immediately. We're also returning to 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. We're going to do another masterclass there in November. Stay tuned for that. We're going to put a date together for that. That's going to, you'll know that soon. But we are returning to 1520 Sedgwick Avenue for a masterclass there on hip hop, probably on hip hop's history, right there at 1520. I'll keep you abreast on that. And like I said earlier, right now we are building the Temple of Hip Hop, the actual edifice, 55 Ludlow Street, Newark, New Jersey. And while that is being built, we are also cleansing our own temple, the body itself, our mind, our spirit. We're cleansing those temples as well. And so that's going to lead us to today's read. If you have your gospel of hip hop, grab your gospel right now, even if it's beat down like mine's is and crusty. Grab your gospel of hip hop and turn to page 143. We are reading the divine performance, the third overstanding, which is the divine performance. And we're reading this because I was going to read it last week and I didn't. But this is the beginning of the cleansing of one's temple. And we just need to go over it again. Just go over it one more time. The week before last, I was talking about, you know, fasting and cleansing and gradually bringing, not a cold turkey, you know, just like, boom, I'm cutting everything off. But no, you gradually start bringing down that salt, start bringing down that sugar, start bringing down that fried food, start bringing down the drink even, start bringing it down. Now, you don't have to cut it out, but you have to bring it down. Now, some want to go all the way, do that. Cut it all the way off and give yourself a break. That's what that's the intent. The intent is not only discipline over the cravings of the flesh, but also give yourself a break. Those things that you enjoy and are pleasurable to you, you want them to remain enjoyments and pleasures to you. But if you keep doing it, overdoing it, overdoing it, overdoing it, eventually they become the poisons to you. Eventually, the very thing you love becomes the actual detriment to you. You don't want that. That's why fasting is important, to be able to put your pleasures and cravings aside for a hot minute. For a hot minute, let's put that aside. And I know I can get back to it. I will get back to it. But can I go 3 days, 7 days, 12 days? Can I go 21 days without my craving? Can I go 7 days without worrying? That's another craving, you know. Can I go 7 days? Can I go 14 days without fear? Another craving, you know. It's these things that you got to cleanse your temple of. Not just what you eat and drink, but what you think as well. You got to adopt a new personality. That's what it means to walk into the temple, to walk into your dream, to walk into your vision you had for yourself. Walk into it. You have to live up to it. Live up to it. This is a different kind of spiritual path, where on most spiritual paths, they say you have to attain perfection, attain enlightenment. You know, you walk a path until you arrive at da-da-da-da-da. Here, the hip-hop spiritual path confirms at the beginning, I am already perfect, complete, and whole. Now let me live up to it. Quite different. You are already perfect. You are already enlightened. What you're looking at, some people say, well, I'm not enlightened, Chris. I'm not enlightened. Enlightened compared to what? Compared to what you saw on TV? Compared to the images and the pictures you see of what other people are saying is enlightenment? No, if you got love in your heart, you're enlightened. If you can see past the lies that are being put in front of you, you're enlightened. If you're here listening to me right now, and not just, not like that, but if you're engaged in these kinds of conversations, you're enlightened. Now, what we all have to do in the enlightenment is live up to it. Maintain your holiness, not seek it and I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna. No, you're holy right now. Now maintain it. And you'll notice the maintenance of holiness is the practice of spirituality. The maintenance of it. I'm maintaining my holiness. I'm already holy. I'm already perfect. I'm already just. I now just have to maintain it. And so the maintenance of such perfection, we find right here. At the third overstanding, page 143, we call it the divine performance. Here we go. Peace and much love. This is where it starts. Okay? This is where it also. Matter of fact, I could close the book. If you really understood what that first thing really means when adopted, peace and much love. Think about that. I mean, we living in New York. And no one seems to have peace, argument, aggression. It's all about aggression and much hate. Imagine if you living in a place with aggression and much hate, and you could say confidently with a smile on your face and your spine straight, peace and much love. This is another kind of wealth. Peace and much love. Let us continue. After you have made the decision to be hip-hop, and after you have declared to 3 of your closest associates, I am hip-hop, it is time to enter your temple. And see, look at what was just said here, okay? After you have made the decision to be hip-hop, this is the first part. After you have made the decision, Nobody coaxed you. Nobody paid you. Nobody put a gun to your head. Nobody forced you to do that. You have made a decision unto yourself. I am hip hop. After you have made the decision to be hip hop, and after you have declared to 3 of your closest associates, I am hip hop, which is what we offer, we say all the time, once you become, when you make that decision, say to 3 of your closest associates, I am hip hop. Say to 3 of your closest associates, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, or whoever. Say, I am hip hop. It is time to enter your temple. For it is not enough to read about what spiritual righteousness is. The true hip hopper must act out or perform spiritual righteousness in order to experience the peace and power of the spiritual realm. And this requires strength. For without spiritual strength or endurance, no spiritual virtues or principles can be achieved. And most books will tell you this. Most of the holy books will tell you this. And most of the lessons in life also, the tortoise and the hare, the lesson of the rabbit racing a turtle. It was about endurance that won the race. The Bible speaks about this as well, that on a spiritual path, it's not about speed, it's about endurance. At the top of this discipline, it should be clearly pointed out that the divine performance reveals only the first steps in hip-hop spiritual living. This study gets the true hip-hopper ready for the deeper mysteries of God, which must be lived in order to be understood. So keep in mind that right at the top, we're letting you know, no written word is going to open your mind to the level of consciousness that can see God. No book is going to do that. But every book has a recipe, has an instruction, is pointing a finger to that way. It's you that have to take the recipe and go ahead and bake this meal. It's you that has to take the direction, the map, and say, okay, this is the map. Let me walk this path. Such an understanding is designed to build up the spiritual character and awareness of the hip hopper in preparation for the deeper spiritual knowledge to come. The divine performance centers the hip hopper's life around a simple set of timeless spiritual life skills that open the gates of the spiritual realm and preserves the actual life of the hip hopper, thus preserving hip hop for real. Now look at that. This requires not just faith. This is an experience. And I want to emphasize that because I want to read this one more time. Look at this. Such an understanding, which is called the divine performance, is designed to build up the spiritual character and awareness of the hip hopper in preparation for the deeper spiritual knowledge to come. Remember, this is an elementary knowledge. The divine performance centers the hip hopper's life around a simple set of timeless spiritual life skills that open the gates of the spiritual realm and preserves the actual life of the hip hopper, thus preserving hip hop for real. Everything's right there in that sentence. How do we preserve hip hop? By preserving the hip hopper. What is the hip hop spiritual path? Basically, it's the divine performance centers the hip hopper's life around, here it is, a simple set of timeless spiritual life skills that open the gates of the spiritual realm. That's it. Timeless life skills, proven. You can even call this a science more than, say, a faith or a religion. You can call this a proven science. And think about that, spirituality as a proven science. What better science is there to study than the science of life and being? For it is never one's talents that ensures one's longevity. Even with great talent and or inheritance, it is one's personal character that truly ensures one's professional success and longevity. We have seen too many talented people, artistic and otherwise, fail to acquire and or maintain successful careers, even with great skills, because of the shortcomings of their own personal characters. The hurts, the betrayals, the loneliness, the failures, all of this can hinder the development of both the ignorant and the enlightened. But if you put God first in your life and lend your heart to the reality of God only, all else shall fall into place. The ignorance, immaturity, the ignorance, immaturity, and insecurity of others shall be revealed to them in time, while you shall be protected by your divine performance. In addition, we've also seen too many hip-hop activists fail to actualize their plans and their goals because of their own outdated perceptions and stubborn attitudes toward life. Know this, life is about growth. And if you are not growing, you are not living. Yes, there will be times of hurt and loneliness. Yes, you will wonder why people do what they do. But in the end, if you remain strengthened and transformed by your performance of divinity, peace and justice shall become your permanent condition. Therefore, in accordance with our strategies to actually preserve hip-hop, those who take the vow, I am hip-hop, and have decided to live and grow in spirit, are given these instructions for atonement. Here's the first one. A. From where you stand, sit, or lie, cleanse your mind with the following affirmation, given to me by my mother, Jacqueline, years ago. Actually, it was given to Simone. My mother, Jackie, gave this to Simone. Say the following affirmation 3 times every night before you sleep and once in the morning when you awake for 21 days. Feel this. Expect this. Now, this was real because this is one of the early affirmations that we started to say and believe it is powerful. Members of the Temple of Hip Hop have already memorized this. So say it with me now. I am not afraid. Today I give myself permission to be all that I can be. New fields of divine activity now open for me. Unexpected doors fly open. Unexpected channels are now free. My mind is focused and directed toward my victory. I now create what I need with divine energy. Good things come to me easily, in peace, and at the right time. There it is. Here's B. At this very moment, you must decide to change your diet toward the consumption of healthier foods and thoughts. If you are above the age of 18, you should gradually, see the word gradually, withdraw from the consumption of all processed and junk foods, meats and meat products. Even before you finish these overstandings, you should gradually begin to accustom your mind and body toward a healthier diet. You should begin to gradually lessen your intake of dairy, flour, salt, sugar, and all other addictions like hate, worry, and fear. Resist overeating and lessen your intake of drugs that can cause irregular eating or overeating. Respect yourself by committing to yourself. That's what we teach right there. Remember, the future you is depending upon you now to make the right decisions for its survival. This is the attitude one must adopt in order to protect, preserve, and develop oneself productively. Therefore, realize the truth of God's actual presence and cleanse your body inside and out, for it is now God's temple. Prepare now for the arrival of your God. C. At this very moment and before you prepare to sleep, confess to God the things you thought, said, and done that you felt were not right. Forgive your enemies first by acknowledging that they were young and ignorant, and then ask God to forgive you for your immaturity and ignorance. Ask God to guide you toward increased knowledge. That's what also forgiveness is about, increased knowledge, maturity, control of emotions. Trust no man or woman with your confession. Confess your mistakes only to God. Ask God to forgive you of your anger and discourteous responses, even while driving. Even while driving, working, and walking. Humble yourself and truly contemplate the pain you've caused others. This is release. This is releasing. This is healthy. This is not self-incrimination. This is you realizing, I did that. I did something wrong. And you just realizing I did something wrong alleviates you from the wrong. You're now the other person looking at the other person's activities. The other person's activities was wrong. Only the one who can say that was wrong is the other person. You now separate yourself from that activity through maturity. And then you go about correcting the wrong. If you stole, replace it. If you verbally abuse somebody, go back and verbally uplift them up. If you harm somebody, try to make amends. That's in another part of the divine performance, perform forgiveness. But you see right here, even in preparation of the temple, of the cleansing of the temple, humble yourself and truly contemplate the pain you've caused others. Ask God to forgive you and bless those whom you have performed ignorantly and destructively toward. You can also directly seek the forgiveness of those you have hurt by performing the superhuman act of apologizing. You know how hard it is to apologize? That means when someone does that, you have to forgive them. Because it's hard. Unless, every 5 minutes they apologize and it don't mean nothing because they did it 7, 8, 9, 10 times already. That's a different level of forgiveness. That's a different kind of patience based on who you are to the person, all of that. But we're just talking a basic here, elementary, the foundation, just something you could put your foot on to get started. This is the attitude that we're looking at. You can look at it again. You can also directly seek the forgiveness of those you have hurt by performing the superhuman act of apologizing. Cleanse the guilt from your own heart. Apologize, repent, and let it go. I made a mistake. Seek to resolve the conflicts and misunderstandings in your own life. And then, of course, it says here, perform forgiveness. There is another part of the gospel, gives it recipes for performing forgiveness. Forgiveness is going to be a huge part of the whole spiritual path because you've done things to people that were not right, and people have done things to you that were not right. But to cleanse your temple of that resentment and that guilt, forgiveness works both ways. You have to believe in forgiveness. Believe in it. Believe that if you ask God for forgiveness, you're going to get it. Believe it. That's what erases the guilt. What did G. Simone teach us? Being guilty is giving up inspirational living towards yourself. Giving up inspirational living toward yourself. That's what it means to be guilty. You're giving up inspirational living, spirited living, inspired living. No, reverse that. Bring the hope back into your life, which is having opportunity presented everywhere. Realize yourself as hip hop, which is wholly integrated people having omnipresent power. Hear I pray, hear our prayers. If you believe on your own culture will cleanse your own temple. If you believe in your own gospel will cleanse your heart, ready for you to walk into your own temple. But it's you that got to take your principles seriously. If you don't take your principles seriously, then they're not taken seriously. That means you're unforgiving. That means you still walk around with resentment. That means you still are angered, fearful, insecure, la, 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 la. Why? Because you don't want to take the next step in believing in yourself. Believing in your culture, your community, your gospel, your principles, believing on yourself, that's difficult. And this is the truth. That's why this is here. Cleanse the guilt from your own heart. Apologize, repent, and let it go. And seek to resolve the conflicts and misunderstandings in your own life. If you notice a misunderstanding, go call the person up. Try to resolve it. If they don't want to resolve it, fine. They don't resolve it. But you know you try to resolve it. Here's D. Right now, at this very moment, think about a space close to where you sleep, where you can set up an area to pray and study. It could be a space on the floor, a table, a shelf, or a window. It could be as small as a shoebox in a corner or as large as the entire bedroom. In any event, at your beginning, the space you set aside to pray and study should be near to where you sleep if possible. After you've designated a space, choose a surface, a table, a shelf, a box, a crate, etc., to place in your sacred space. Such a surface is commonly called an altar. It is the physical place you go to alter your awareness from natural to divine. It is the place where you talk in the presence of God. It is in this place that you affirm your past, present, and future victories. See, this is the real right here. Build an altar unto your own God. A place, a sacred place, where you say, this is the place I meet God. Right here. This is the place that I meet my ancestors. And look at this. You have to do this for yourself, because if you did it, then God is meeting you right there. Why? Because you said, like forget for a minute the supernatural, the supernatural or the religious part of this or the symbolic part of it. Go to the psychological part of it. The psychological part, okay? If you take the time to build a space for God, ancestors, spiritual awareness, you're telling your own brain that this is what's possible here. People don't use these techniques because they don't even think they can. But that's what a teacher is for, to point it out. No, you can do this. You can do this. I don't want to bring it down to just money or just, getting stuff. But it's a regular practice within my house that when we have big undertakings to take on, some of us, whether it be the grandmothers, Simone, children, whoever, sometimes myself, we create wish boards, altars. I'm thinking now because I made an altar, and I had a small I had a little version of my RV. I have a Sprinter van RV, and I had a little version of it, and I put it, on a map and said I'm going to do this kind of tour and all this kind of stuff, and it's all psychological, but neurologists, psychologists, they'll tell you when you affirm something in your own mind, it's your own mind that makes it real. And so think about this. Most people say, I ain't gonna do that, man, because it's all in my own mind. What? If you knew you could get $1 million right now, but you have to believe it first, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you, if somebody said, yo, you can have anything you want, any material thing you want, but first you have to train yourself to believe it. You have to do something to yourself that's going to manifest this. Why wouldn't you do it? Well, it has to do with the character of a person. I ain't doing that. That's wishful thinking. Oh, that's some old crazy. Oh, that's some supernatural thing. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. Okay. But if there are those of us that have concrete evidence that you can do this, why not try? What do you have to lose? I mean, think about that. What do you have to lose by psyching your own psychology out to give you what you want? What? I mean, when I first started, I said I want to be the greatest rapper of all time. Most rappers, most those that are serious, start out with that conviction. I'm going to change the game. I'm going to be the greatest. You know, that's healthy. That's a healthy MC attitude. And a lot of MCs entered the game with that. I was one of them. I'm going to be the greatest MC ever. And I'm sitting in a shelter with no way whatsoever to become that. I had to believe myself into KRS-ONE. I had to. There was no choice. See, the problem with most people is that they eat every day. They have a warm bed to go to. You know, some of us are even having our bills paid for by others. Some of us get clothes. You know, somebody else buying your clothes, somebody else feeding you. Others of us are comfortable with the situation we've made for ourselves. You know, so this is what it is. So we said, we don't want, you know, but where I come from, it was do or die, sink or sail. Do something for yourself or get ran over. That's where I come from. So we had to use our mind. We had to conjure up in our own minds our own survival. School was telling us we was nothing. Religion was like you're a sinner and a devil. Redlined everywhere. You can't buy no house, can't get no decent housing, nothing. I mean, just run down the list. It was all corrupt. The last thing we had was our own belief in ourselves. So we started to say, look, what's your name? My name is Larry. Larry Parker. That's my name. That dude stayed broke and impoverished until Larry Parker said, no, my name is Knowledge Reigns Supreme over nearly everyone. What's your name? My name is DJ Scott LaRock. Oh, word? Now we nobodies are somebodies now, just by changing our name. The name then had to be lived up to. I'm Knowledge Reigning Supreme because I like knowledge. I like study. I'm an educator. So I'm Knowledge Reigning Supreme. And I have to live up to this title. So I'm writing rhymes that teach people while I'm writing. It's called edutainment. Do your thing, I'm living up to my own name, living up to my name, living up to my nature, living up to my character in my culture created KRS-ONE. And this goes for everybody. Living up to their name in this culture created whoever they are. Now, if you would live up to your own name in this culture, you'll become whoever you envision yourself to be. But if you don't believe for yourself in your own name, how can it even happen? Like, you don't believe in your own name. If you don't believe in your own name, how can you ever manifest anything? That's the point. So here we read, okay? And this has to do with setting up an altar. That's what we're actually talking about. Setting up an altar. But an altar has to do not so much with the altar, it has to do with what you believe about yourself. The person who sets up an altar believes that an altar is what they need right now. And if you believe that an altar is what you need right now, then the altar is going to alter your needs. The altar is going to move you in such a way that you're going to fulfill your own needs. It's going to remind you and place you in psychological ways. It's going to put your mind in a condition for it to achieve your goals. This is how important an altar is, or a wish board, or any kind of area and a table or something that you say, my divinity meets me right here. Let's go forward. After you've designated a space, choose a surface, a table, a shelf, a box, a crate, etc., to place in your sacred space. Such a surface is commonly called an altar. It is the physical place you go to alter your awareness from natural to divine. It is the place where you talk in the presence of God. It is in this place that you affirm your past, present, and future victories. Here you can cover your designated surface with a new and clean cloth. Then place upon your covered surface a candle or candles, your favorite oils, sprays, waters, incense, pictures of those you truly love and or admire, and this gospel of hip-hop open to either the freestyles or your favorite overstanding. After you have done this, thank God for your sacred space, and then repeat your affirmation 3 times and go to sleep in faith, in peace. Cleanse your environment with the establishment of your sacred space, and let not your sacred space be violated. Believe, here's the key piece. Believe in your spiritual reality, and it shall become real in your life. See, most people want their spirituality to be real in other people's lives, and they miss out. Spirituality is only about you. It's a personal journey. So if you can't bring your psychology to believe in your own spirituality, then you don't have a spiritual life. And again, this is not about some childish, I'm going to make something up. I'm going to just dream. I'm just going to dream. That's not what this is. This is a serious psychological exercise that reveals to you new dimensions, other directions that you could really use, like in the material world. You could really use it. Those were the 4, A, B, C, D. These were 4 preparations we just read. Let us continue. At an average rap music concert, there is usually an opening act or acts followed by a headliner. Now, this is symbolic. Look at this. Attuned hip-hoppers and experienced rap fans alike have learned that great opening acts that have been successful have always shouted praise to the headliner and have always sought to align their performance to that of the headliners. The opening act performs with an understanding that the headliner is sure to follow with an even more elaborate performance. It is the headliner who closes the show. Similarly, attuned hip-hoppers know that God is the true headliner in every arena of life. Even if the hip-hopper is a headliner in the world, the attuned hip-hopper remains an opening act to God. As an opening act, the attuned hip-hopper performs life in spirit, knowing that God will close the show. Whatever the attuned hip-hopper does, it is done with the understanding that God will complete whatever has started. When this truth is realized, one's actions will reflect such a realization. How often do we forget that the hip-hop lived life is a performance, and that imitating the performance of God sets one apart from the world and its troubles. Attuned hip hoppers live life as a great performance. When we are at work, we are performing. When we are with family, we are performing. Every day and at every moment of the day, we are performing. Even while asleep, there are a variety of performances taking place within one's mind, body, and environment. It is our performances in life that manifest or form the circumstances of our lives. Each performance is literally a pre-formed dance or pre-form acts, an action that creates form, an action that creates and forms circumstances. Therefore, attuned hip hoppers align their performances to God's performance, remaining protected, prosperous, and at peace, in harmony with the will of God in their lives continuously. For when God's personality is a habit in your life, victory over the streets is inevitable and constant. And when God is enough for you, peace shall always be with you. This performance ensures one's longevity as an MC, DJ, graffiti writer, etc. Rap fans are trapped in the law of lyrical freestyling, while attuned hip hoppers enjoy a life that is free. Rap fans focus upon the sales and the performances of the marketplace, while attuned hip hoppers focus upon the performance of their God and receive all things freely. Oh Lord, are we not living that right now? To perform correctly is to live and act totally aware of your life and actions. The arena is your environment. The stage represents your level of mentality, and the audience is the world. The show is an act of one or more divine performances. Therefore, give a good show. As we perform throughout life, we should be drawing the applause of God. Hip hoppers are advised to perform the following, and it goes in now into the 18 divine performances. And I urge you guys to read that. This concludes the lesson that we had in store for you today. But what did we learn today? Or what would I like to end off with today is that, number one, we are entering our temple. We are entering our temple. And as we enter our temple, we are also entering our physical, mental, and spiritual temples as well. And we're clearing out the hate, and we're clearing out the fear, and we're clearing out the insecurity. We're clearing it out with a knowledge and an awareness of your divinity. Not that you won't make mistakes, not that you won't come up to the mark, but that you are already perfect because God is already with you. You see, most people take their whole life unto themselves, and this is the limitation of the intellect. This is just the limitation of it. You think it's all about you. You think it's only you. You even think that it's your body, like you are the only one in charge of your body. Now, technically, in a political sense, you are. In a physical sense, you are the one in charge of your body. But in a spiritual sense, and I mean, if you take the word spiritual off and put random circumstances and situations, your body, it has to navigate a life that seems to be doing its own thing. If you can communicate with that life for your benefit, why wouldn't you? This is just one of the lessons, and you can communicate with that life. You can dance like life dances, and it will recognize you and respond to you. And we're not getting into that here, but there's a performance, the divine performances. These are the dances. This is the character that gets the attention of life. And suddenly you find yourself creating the reality you need to create to assist life in its furtherance of itself. Are you a student and a servant of life, or is life a student of you? Life doesn't mind following you. It does exactly what you're going to do and nothing more. Think about that. How life for some people is blissful with health, love, awareness, and much wealth. That same life is hell for somebody else. Sickness, hatred, ignorance, continuous poverty. How can we all wake up in a day, the sun comes up on everybody, and some of us live in perpetual poverty, while others of us live in perpetual wealth in the same environment? And this is not just about colonialism and capitalism. No, it's about a mentality as well. It's about a mentality. Do you doubt yourself on every level? Are you guilty for no reason? Well, awareness is what frees you from that. And your confidence in that awareness, your belief in your awareness of yourself frees you from all of that. And that's why the divine performance is important. So that concludes our lesson for today. And let me just reiterate, on November 3rd is our Hip Hop Teachers Conference. And if you'd like to be part of that, you can email us at the below email. And that's going to happen at the Temple of Hip Hop in Newark, New Jersey. And September 30th, before all that, is the Hip Hop 50 Years Art Exhibition. Dope art is going to be there on display. It's a gathering for real hip hoppers to come together, check out some dope art, hear some music, and mingle with friends as well. Some of the art will be on sale as well. So that's it. This, of course, is the Temple of Hip Hop. I am KRS-ONE, and I'm going to turn you over now to Sun One for our closing remarks. Peace, y'all, and thank you again.
Peace, and thank you, teacher. So we're looking at the divine performance, entering your temple. The exercise, the experience that the divine performance provides, if executed and properly put to use, there is a mind switch that you have to be able to handle. As teacher was speaking about the fact of why you manifest certain things or don't manifest certain things, more than likely comes from being afraid. And thus our lead affirmation, I am not afraid. You should think about that when you're trying to get whatever you're trying to get, whether in not necessarily just material things, whether it be health. I am not afraid of being healthy. Change scares a lot of people. And for those of us here at the Temple of Hip Hop, we have to get above fear. And this is how things come into existence. Even the proper use of fear as motivation to stand up to the fear and get over the fear, surpass the fear, in order to receive is the this is what is going on. The preformed dance. Can you dance? In order that what follows is God closing the show? These are the questions that you gotta deal with yourself, and I would say even this is the spiritual battle. This is the battle of the physical you versus the spirit realm you, which really uh, you could even see as one and the same. This is the spirit realm. This is the spirit realm. There's a more intense spirit realm that doesn't have physicality to it, but this is very much a part of the spirit realm right here. And these techniques that teacher has provided us, um, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but it's becoming quite mainstream. Uh, at least through social media. Maybe it's just the things I'm attracting to myself that's giving or showing me uh, people confirming that which not many, not many were discussing in 2009. We got this early, um, but now people are saying it as if it's just uh, as if it's regular talk. Talking about manifesting things, putting your intention into things. Of course, Secret came out and all of this other stuff. And these are ancient techniques, but the trick is, like teacher said, do you believe it? Do you believe that it's possible? Do you believe that it can work? Because if you don't believe it's not going to work, and then if you don't put in the prescribed effort, it's not going to work. And technically, if that's what you do, then you'll never know. You'll never know whether or not it works. And you may say, "Oh no, no, I don't. I tried that." No, you didn't, or at least not fully. And also, some people have deeper things psychologically um, to fix before doing something as you could even say magical as this, or to manipulate. And that's what I'm saying. It's not even magic. It's not magic. This is your ability that they never taught you. This is what humans you can do. Your mind creates the reality that you see and that you live within and that you go through. It's your mind bringing on positive and negative. Perform responsibility. This is why the divine performance, the way it works, um, it's changed my life. I'm living in nothing but the manifestation of the divine performance every day. Every day, everything I look at is literally the manifestation of the divine performance. And I thank you, teacher. So peace and much love. I hope you all are inspired. Uh, read your gospel. Read it, understand it, learn it, comprehend it, uh, and put it to use. Don't live the gospel. Live the gospel out, and the gospel will live you straight up and down. Peace and much love. This is the Temple of Hip Hop. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. We believe that the best way to preserve hip hop is to preserve you, the hip hopper. I hope you all have a wonderful and favored week of nothing but miracles manifestations. I know I should have got this ready before, right? Oh, all praise due to God.
Can you dance? Let's find out. I want to see everybody on the dance floor right now. I'm about to put y'all to the test. Let's go. Do you know the dances? Do you know the hip-hop dances? Let's see. This one is the raw for sure, taking no chances. Bringing back them old school dances, here's the answers. Whether you remember or you're new to this endeavor, dance is a major part of this culture forever. What are we preserving if the children ain't learning? Culture ain't about just numbering and just wording. Sometimes you gotta show the culture at the party. Let's start with the Bismarck dance. Come on, everybody. The Bismarck, the party bout to get sparked. This is that moment you get live, get courage, get hard. I spit art, I'm one of a kind, they not me. I'm digitally underground like Shock G. Speaking of Shock G, when I jump, we jump. That's crisscross, but we talking about Humpty Hump. When you up, what? This is your chance. Come on everybody, do the Humpty dance. Let's go. Was the Humpty, now let's get it chunky. Like Biz used to say, yo, let's get funky. Funky, with the funk flow, we don't stop. Right about now, we gonna take it to the WAP. Remember the WAP, feet slide, shoulder drop. We did it in the Cubs, we even did it on the block. Ready, set, go, stand on your spot. Take it to the top, come on y'all, let's do the WAP. Non-stopping, hip-hopping, we dropping. We ain't even get yet to popping or locking. It's shocking how many dance moves we came with. Obviously, we and the ancestors got the same gift, the same lift, the same riff, and the same split. Like Bob Marley said, when the music hits, it's painless. You can't tame this or hate this. You gotta love me. Come on, y'all, let me see you do the Dougie. Woo! That's right. That's right. This that part where we go freestyle. Some of y'all doing the Cabbage Patch, some of y'all doing the Running Man. Let me see what you got. Come on.